Hi, this is Michelle from Toolfarm, and welcome to another episode of Michele Learns Cinema 4D. So recently I worked on a project for the Maxon Roadshow, which is going on for the next couple of months, and it consisted of some marketing material. I have a postcard here. It's a two-sided postcard, and also a commercial. And what I have is a brain and some brain cells. And what I'm going to do over the next couple of episodes of this is to focus on different aspects of what I did in this project. For example, the first episode here, I'm going to talk about sculpting and how I created the brain using sculpting. Now, the brain, it was meant to play a larger role in this ad. However, I was having a lot of computer problems due to most likely some bad RAM, and I was getting kernel panics, and also my mouse was acting up, and it was double clicking things and opening windows all the time, and it was really, really difficult. So I have a new mouse, and I popped out 2 of the RAM chips, and I think I may have found the culprit. So everything seems okay now, but it did slow me down quite a bit during the process of working on this commercial, and I had to scale back my original idea a little bit. But overall, I'm happy with the results. There are some things, of course, that I want to tweak, but overall, I think it turned out well, and I learned quite a lot. So I'm also going to show in future episodes here the matrix extrude, which I use to make the brain cells. And I have a little note here. The depth channel, I'm going to talk about using Frisch Luft lens care to bring the depth information into After Effects. Camera morph is something I use to take the camera through the cells, which made it really... Anyway, here is how I made the brain.
First, I'm creating a sphere, and I'm scaling it up just a little bit. Then I'm converting it to an edible shape after I rename it brain. Let me look at it in the quad view so I can see several different angles of it. I want to have the brain matching up with the y-axis, I guess it would be. So here I am in my sculpting layout, and I'm setting the size up as large as I can make it for the brush size at first, and I'm using the flatten tool. And now this is to give me the basic shape of the brain. So I'm using a Wacom tablet for this because it's a lot easier. And I'm just flattening the sides of the brain, giving it the rough shape. So I have 2 computers set up here, and on my other screen I just Googled some brain shapes or brain hemisphere, and this gave me a good idea of what a brain looks like. I'm not copying a brain. This isn't scientifically accurate by any means. So I'm doing 1 hemisphere at a time, and then I will duplicate this hemisphere to mirror it. Alright, now I'm using pull, and I'm going to make the size quite a bit smaller. I'm also going to turn on link size and link pressure because I may be using a couple of other different tools, and what that will do is it will give me the same settings between the different sculpting tools, which is really convenient. Sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't, but in this case I do. Now this will be where I give the ridges into the brain. Now I'm just freehanding this entirely. I'll speed this up a bit so it's more interesting to watch. You could try and be accurate if you want to. I didn't do that. This is a graphic element, not a medical piece. This didn't actually take very much time. I did this whole thing in about 6 minutes. I went into my sculpting presets here and I grabbed a shader and put it on my brain just to give it a more brainy look. This is not the look that I used on my project. I'll show you that in just a moment. But it kind of gives you an easier idea when you're sculpting what it looks like instead of just being gray. Alright, so to duplicate my layer, I just copy and paste it, and then I scale the x-axis as a negative, and then I move it back into place, match them up. This isn't perfect. If I were using this for a project, I'd probably go in and tweak a few things, but for now I think this is good, just to give you the idea of how to make a brain. With Halloween coming up and all that, you may need to make some creepy like mad scientist lab brain type thing. Here is the material preset that I use to give the brain its glowing blue color, and this is not a scary brain but more of a, a medical x-ray type brain. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Michele Cinema 4D, and we'll have another episode coming up soon.